Well, the streak is broken. The Stash Man, Butterfly Face, the 12 car of Ryan Blaney wins at Phoenix. More about that on the 645 show. Up next. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Blaney finally breaks the streak. We don't have to listen to NASCAR is rigging it for 2311. We don't have to listen to people cry and complain that Tyler Reddick is the greatest driver to ever live and the only person to ever win the first three races in a season. Somebody finally beat him. So I'm sure that helps him knowing that he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, Ryan Blaney won. I am your co-host and producer, Derrick Jewett 2, driver the number 45. Right beside me, Aaron Baum, driver the number 2, but fan of the number 6, making up the 645. We come to you every single Sunday after the NASCAR Cup Series race to do any breaking news, anything, give you the rundown of the race and the race weekend, and then we talk about iRacing because we are well-known iRacers. We are very intelligent when it comes to iRacing. But Aaron Baum driving that number 6 Brad Keselowski car. How you doing today? You doing good?
Doing all right, man. Annoyed with how Brad's day went. You can ask my lovely girlfriend. I was heated with the decisions they made today. More on that later because I don't want to start out annoyed.
Yeah, we'll get to the franchise stuff because we are fanboys of Tyler Reddick and Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick and the number 6 of Brad Keselowski. But overall, we'll talk about the events that happened during the O'Reilly race. We'll talk about anything that happened during the week leading up to the race weekend. I don't think anything major has come up. We still got that lawsuit with Chris Gabehart and Joe Gibbs Racing, but nothing's really gone anywhere with that. Nothing's really been said after the filing. And I know NASCAR is a big business, and every team is a business, and it's everything. But I'm tired of lawsuits, man. Like that 2311 front row and NASCAR, it dragged on forever, and it seemed like now it's just like, oh, anybody in NASCAR could go and sue whoever they want to sue for anything. Yes, if the story is true, what Chris Gabehart was doing is not cool because you are literally taking valuable information, not just from the team, but Toyota itself and secret stuff from Toyota and taking it somewhere else. And I mean, NASCAR is all about cheating anyways, but Eddie Guerrero said it the best: if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So, but did you get a chance to watch the O'Reilly race at Phoenix International Raceway?
Indeed, I did. Indeed, I did. I mean, it's a Jesse Love's returning back to the track that he won the championship at. Me being a Jesse Love guy, had to watch. Uh, those cars are just awesome. I love watching those cars drive at that place. Like Phoenix, historically a boring racetrack for the Cup Series. Today was a different story, but I had a great time watching last night. Congrats to Allgaier. We'll get more into the O'Reilly race here right now, I guess. But qualifying, Taylor Gray gets a pole. I believe might be his first pole, at least his first pole of the season. Jesse Love qualifies second. Brandon Jones third. Alfredo pulling double duty. More on him and how he went today, filling in for Bowman with vertigo. And then the 17-year-old sensation Brent Cruz qualified 5th. William Byron in the 88 qualified 6th. Sammy Smith 7th. The Wrecking Ball Corey Day 8th. Jeb Burton, which is 9th, in case you want to see a Jeb Burton sighting. He actually led practice, by the way. Jeb Burton was actually very fast this weekend. And then Kyle Sieg rounding out the top 10 in qualifying. So, that being said, moving into stage 1, nothing too crazy from what I remember. It just seemed like pretty straightforward racing. I mean, the O'Reilly series kind of tends to sort itself out pretty quickly. Like the parity in those cars isn't as the same as the Cup Series cars. So the top 5, 6 guys tend to get, strung out away from everybody else. But Sammy Smith brought it home in stage 1 as a stage winner, which was good for him. He had the fastest car, I think, and at least for the beginning half of the race, everyone probably was chasing the 8. They'd probably agree. Jesse Love second. Quapple was unbelievably fast. I know you're a Carson Quapple guy. He had a great run. Allgaier 4th, Byron 5th, Burton, Day, Cruz, Sheldon Creed in 9th, and then rounding out top 10 is Brandon Jones in the 20. So, yeah, there's your stage 1. You got stage 2, partner?
Yeah, stage 2, basically same thing. There's not really much that changed. Obviously the restarts were crazy. Middle portion, the long speed was the kind of the goat, in my opinion. Drivers like Cole Custer started to shine. Custer's car looked extremely strong on the longer runs, while some drivers would start fading. Not feeding. Wow, I need to wake up. Fading after about 20 to 25 laps. Custer, his lap time stayed consistent, and he slowly worked his way to the front. That's something you often really see at Phoenix. Goodyear, especially with the O'Reilly. I don't know if I keep saying Xfinity, but O'Reilly series, they seem to get it right, and I think it's more of the fact that the cars are much more difficult to handle compared to the Cup cars, where the Cup cars are more aero dependent, where the O'Reilly cars are more of putting the driver in the seat and letting the driver do the work. In my opinion, it's not really as aerodynamic as the Cup cars. Sheldon Creed also had a solid showing in the middle stages of the race. Creed has always been aggressive, especially in restarts, and Phoenix gave him the opportunity to make bold moves throughout the dog leg with reconstruction of the layout a couple of years ago, a few years ago now. Turn 1 is basically what turn 3 and 4 used to be, and turn 3 and 4 is now 1 and it's 1 and 2. It's really kind of shook everything up. But they'll restart, and you'll see 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 wide going through that dog leg, seeing people try to make aggressive moves. Sam Mayer was another driver trying to work different lanes around the track. He was experimenting the higher entries into the corner and trying to carry more momentum. Yeah, I didn't get the stage finisher on
Yeah,
who
I got
won the stage, but
your boy Jesse Love won stage 2, so that was big dubs for Jay Love. Quapple 2nd, William Byron 3rd, Allgaier 4th, Brent Cruz 5th. He had a good stage 1 and stage 2. He kind of fell off in stage 3. I think he had some bad pit stops, from what I remember. Like he had a slow pit stop, and then he got kind of mired in traffic. But Sammy Smith in 6th, Jeb Burton, who stayed up front towards all day, in 7th, Taylor Gray, who was a pole sitter, 8th in stage 2. The Creedster 9th. Jeremy Clements, who's actually been turning a new page here, has been doing really good. So good job for the 51. And then Sam Mayer just missing out on stage points in 11th. But Jesse Love, he had a great car. I was listening to his audio last night. His car was great. It's, obviously they had a great piece there from the championship run only 4 months ago. But Jesse obviously a little frustrated with how he kind of felt like he threw this race away. He had the fastest lap. Allgaier ran him down. Middle stages of stage 3, car was just way too tight. I feel like they over-adjusted on that car. And what appeared to be that Jesse Love had the fastest car, Allgaier, just being a smart veteran, saved his stuff, knew what to say to get adjusted on, and good win for Justin Allgaier is the reason why he's a veteran and holds it down. But it was a great race. I mean, these cars race so good. I say it every week. Carson Quapple was mixing it up 3 wide with Allgaier and Levitt at certain points. Sheldon Creed was sending it in. All these guys were just really having a good time maximizing the whole lanes, right? Like you see the next gen guys, the Cup Series guys, they don't want to go below the apron if you don't have to. Like it's really rough riding down there. They say that it hurts, it's very jarring. These Xfinity guys, they will go down there all night long, and it is just a crazy showing. But yeah, so shout out to Justin Allgaier, Jesse Love, and Carson Quapple, your top three. Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer, Sammy Smith, Jeb Burton, our boy Raja Caruth, Corey Day in ninth place, and wrapping up the top 10, Fast Pasta Anthony Alfredo, who pulled double duty this weekend. He was probably more concerned with getting into the 48 car on Sunday. So we can talk leading into the Cup race if you have anything else you want to say about the O'Reilly race. But fun race to watch. Phoenix has historically been kind of a boring snooze fest, and the O'Reilly Series race put on a good show.
I agree. I wasn't able to watch as much. I watched mainly the second portion and then the last ending of the race. But shout out to Phoenix and IndyCar and NASCAR to do not one but two races back to back. You had last week. You had the IndyCar, you had the Craftsman Truck Series race at St. Petersburg, and then you had the IndyCar race at St. Petersburg the same day, or it may have been the next day. But this weekend, yesterday, they had IndyCar the day of, a couple hours before the O'Reilly race, and then you had the O'Reilly race, and getting everything, making sure that everything was working properly. It looked good, making sure that all the safety equipment, they had safety trucks, everything was ready to go. Because obviously the Indy cars so aerodynamic, they can fly if they wanted to. You put a jet engine on that, probably could. But yeah, overall, like I said, O'Reilly really, in my opinion, has been the vocal point of the NASCAR schedule so far the past couple of years. It always puts on great racing, and then you go to the Cup Series and you're like, what is so different with? Most of these guys came from the O'Reillys, and but it's really just the car. It's just the car. I had a conversation a couple days ago. They're like, I don't really watch NASCAR, but isn't like, don't they cheat? Don't they like bend parts and like put like screws in certain areas? I'm like, nope, not anymore. They're not allowed to do that. So, little fun fact for you if you don't know. NASCAR has now mandated they make all the parts, or they buy all the parts and they ship them out, and it's crazy. But yeah, we could get into the Cup Series. First things first, practice. A lot of people spinning, wrecking, crashing. You think it was the? Did you think it was the tires, or how slick the track was? Was it? What do you think it was?
Right. So I'm glad you asked, partner, because there was a big talking point during the O'Reilly Series practice being the IndyCar rubber. Like you said, I think the IndyCar coming here was great for the fans. They said it in the TV broadcast that the fans won this weekend. Fans of both series get to see, each other's, sports kind of go at it. But the IndyCar rubber on the tire or on the track from their tire is a little different. So everyone was kind of worried about how's this going to work? Is the NASCAR tire going to pick up the IndyCar rubber and displace it? How's it going to interact? And guys were sliding around, having a tough time finding grip in the O'Reilly Series practice. And yeah, I think it was a mixture for the Cup Series guys that were blowing tires or having tire issues. I think it's a mixture of a couple of things. I think it's a mixture of the new compound that NASCAR brings or that Goodyear brings, so it's naturally softer. And I think these crew chiefs and engineers are just getting really greedy. There's no setup adjustment or there's no mechanical adjustment that makes as much of a difference in handling as tire pressure. If you can lower those things down to zero, it would get the most grip you could get out of it, and they would do that. Think of it for you guys at home. Think of it like a balloon. If you had a really hard, firm, pumped up balloon and you pressed a little bit on it, it wouldn't squash into the ground as much. So that rubber squashing into the pavement gives you more square inches of contact patch, which gives you way more handling. and there's no adjustment quite like tire pressure. It's the best handling adjustment there is. So these guys were getting really greedy with how low pressure they were running. Goodyear has a recommendation. iRacing mandates that you can't go below. I think it's 10 on short tracks on the left side, and I think it's like 10 and 16 or 10 and 18, and I think other tracks it's like 20 and 40 or something like that. It's something really low, but short tracks it's pretty low. These guys run it, I think, almost in the single digits. Like, I think some of these pressures are like 9, 10 pounds of pressure in a left rear tire. You could see they showed Bubba Wallace's car at speed. And at speed going in the back straightaway, there was a wrinkle in his left rear tire, which is like insanely soft, especially with how much drag and how much suction these cars bring down. So I think the big gamble was, okay, well, we know Goodyear's previous tire. We can sim off that. We know how much load these tires can handle. So we're just going to bring something similar this week and see what happens. And then sure enough, the soft compound tire deflects too much, blows out the side, and there you go. We saw, believe 4 practice wrecks with tire issues. Herbst, I believe Reddick had a self spin where he didn't hit anything. Brad Kay had to go to a backup car from blowing a tire, and they were all perplexed down there from what it sounded like.
Yeah, and I remember Phoenix was one of those tracks where it was specifically let's experiment. They had the hard or the soft red tire. They had the yellow option, the red. They've been experimenting tire compounds and how soft they can really go with Phoenix. Like Phoenix has always been that, and I maybe it's because it's always a hot track. I don't really know. I wish I could show you guys what I saw on social media, but I can't just because it's YouTube and YouTube doesn't like it. But there was a video of a NASCAR team who I don't know if it was during the O'Reilly practice or the Cup practice. I'm pretty sure it was the Cup practice. They found a giant ball of just rubber buildup throughout the entire track. They just picked it up. It looked like a bowling ball of some sorts, and they weighed it, and it was like 12 pounds of just rubber. And that's from IndyCar, that's from O'Reilly, that's probably from Cup 2. And I'm like, you don't really see that anywhere else. You don't. Like a big chunk of just buildup. It was crazy to. It looked like a meteorite at some point. So, but yeah, shout out to good.
Sorry, I wonder if it's specific to Phoenix because I've been in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. A lot of people have. They have the track sample textures. They have little 4-inch squares of each track. Oh, here's Pocono. Here's whatever. Phoenix is very different. It is a different substance. They zoomed on it on the TV broadcast, but it's almost like the edge of a pool, like almost like you have like the kind of the texture with like shells and kind of it's kind of like that, and it's like I can see how that would really cut tires apart, almost like an old Atlanta, especially with how hot it is. And these cars tanked that banking on the dog leg. Kevin Harvick said it, but it spikes the tire load. iRacing models that too. When you hit bang and that car bottoms out, that tire is taking all that. That balloon is taking every bit of that, and it only takes so many before that tires gets too hot. Those tires deflect with how thin the sidewalls are, and that was it. And that was kind of the case for all day long was tire things. We'll get into that with how many tire failures there were.
Yeah, I mean that was. Yeah, like all week it was just tires. Excuse me, but yeah. Moving on, we sorry, just checking my phone. Going to the Cup race. Again, biggest story of the week, which I'm pretty sure everybody, including Tyler Reddick himself, was probably tired of it. Can Tyler Reddick win 4 in a row? Can Tyler Reddick do it? Can Tyler Reddick win at Phoenix? And you and I have talked, and you're like, he's gonna do it. Like he's gonna do it. And I have stated from day one since Daytona, he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it. And he went all 3. And I simply told you he's not going to do it because Phoenix is probably one of his worst tracks. And sure enough, he finishes 8th today. I'll get into the franchise stuff because I did listen to it. I listened to his audio. Going back to last week, yeah, it's the mobile app. So HBO, I'm looking at you. HBO, get your freaking mobile thing to work, okay? I would like to know what he's doing. Okay, I'd like to know what the shifting looks like, what his RPs look like, or RPMs, and what the tracker looks like. Okay, I don't just want to be riding along with Tyler Reddick. I mean that'd be cool, but I need to know what's going on. Okay, get your little iPhone or if Android whatever. Okay, get it working. Sorry. Anyway. Anyway, so I'm gonna be the bearer of the bad news. I did not get to watch the race. I took a really long nap. I woke up with about 20 laps to go, so I could give you what the 20 laps, the last 20 laps are. But this guy right here, who doesn't take naps, and I don't think he ever sleeps.
My
So
girlfriend would be like, "Oh, he sleeps."
um, I'm gonna give it to him. He's gonna talk about the Cup Series until the last 20 laps, and then
Yeah,
then we'll pitch it back and forth like we're throwing a baseball.
yeah, sounds good, partner. Well, like I said, I told Derek, I said, "Hey, I took some good notes today. I was really attentive this weekend. First actual test for the teams, I believe. An actual, somewhat typical style racetrack. Teams can kind of see what they got. And just for note keeping sake, a lot of every driver they interviewed said the 70 increase or 80 increase in horsepower made a huge difference. I believe they were talking to Chase Elliott, and he's like, "Yeah, no, that actually made a big difference." I believe Reddick said the same thing. Christopher Bell, all these guys were echoing that 80 increase in horsepower that NASCAR gave on this less than a mile and a third package or whatever made a big difference, and I think that's what made a difference as well in the tire wear too. You saw a lot of just tire rear tires getting messed up, and that comes from a little excess of torque. So big ups to NASCAR for throwing more horsepower our way. We would love to see what 800 looks like. I mean, if this is what it looks like at 670 or 650, whatever it is, or who knows, yeah, 670, who knows? But yeah, so big ups to them. And yeah, so shout out to them for that. Anthony Alfredo, note keeping purposes, is subbing in for Alex Bowman for the near indefinitely. I know at least for the next probably 2-3 weeks. So that was something to keep an eye on. Just Anthony Alfredo, also Viking Motorsport guy in O'Reilly Series, Hendrick Motorsport sim guy. Does a trillion laps at Phoenix, so they felt comfortable
Probably
putting him in the
better than
car.
Alex Bowman too.
Yeah, honestly, probably better. So we shall see. I know they're just letting him, log laps in it and don't kill the thing, so he's not really able to take creative liberties as much as he'd probably like to. But qualifying. Sorry, go ahead,
Sorry,
partner.
one thing I want to, so they changed the point system and the chase layout, and now it's back to the chase. It's not that playoff format. So obviously he's not racing, meaning he's not getting points for himself, and he's already, because he's not starting. Like if he started the race, he would be able to get the points of whatever wherever Alfredo or Jim, Bob, Joe, whatever. He is, yes, Vertigo sucks. However, it's really screwing him because he's already deep into down in points from how bad he finished at. I think he got wrecked out at both Atlanta and Daytona, and then Coda. The car finishes what, like third to last, fourth to last, because he gets sick.
And Maya
So
Snyder had to finish.
yeah, exactly. So like he's putting himself in this deep hole to get into the top 16 because it's not winning your end anymore. So my question is, if you're Alex Bowman, if you're Rick Hendrick, Jeff Gordon, Chad Knaus, all these big known names of Hendrick Motorsports, what are you trying to be like, hey, this is what you need to do? This, because I talked to somebody that had vertigo, and they said that they were on medication, and like in 5 days it was gone, and they didn't need to take the medication anymore. So if you're Rick Hendrick, what are you telling Alex Bowman? Like, hey, take as much time as you want, or like, hey, we need to speed this up because I want all four of my guys in the chase.
Yeah, I don't know. I unless they know something we don't with the charter and how points work for the car number, unless there's something medically where there's a medical clearance, I don't know how these legal things work. There's obviously a whole other layer to it that these guys know, but if that's not the case, then I'm sure they're trying to rush him back because he's the name on the windshield and they need him for points. They're not just going to have a charity ride for Alex Bowman. He doesn't bring in that much money, so um yeah, so we'll keep an eye on him. I mean, prayers for Alex Bowman, dude. Like vertigo is absolutely terrible. I had a spell of something similar during a football game once at kicking at Murray State. It was pre-game, right before kickoff, and all of a sudden it felt like my vision was upside down. It felt like I was almost wearing goggles with a little bit of water in them, and everything was distorted, everything was upside down. Not sure if I yawned and my eardrum had a moment and an equilibrium. I have no idea, but it was very scary, and I was in a high pressure moment of if we scored, I can't go out there. So I understand driving a race car and having vision and equilibrium issues, and that's probably terrifying. But we wish him all the best. But I hope he can get better soon for more than his sake. But qualifying this weekend was really interesting. I mean, Penske just has a great program for Phoenix. I think that the IndyCar guys and the Cup Series engineers, I think they collude. They have to talk because of how similar the next gen is with how it moves the air underneath and through the hood and all these other places that it diffuses the air through. Not just the bottom, I'm coming to find out there's a lot more places it expels the air for downforce. So you just know these engineers between IndyCar and what an advantage that is to have an IndyCar program under your same shop essentially as you would in the next. You can ask the guy two doors down, hey man, what do you have for Phoenix? And he goes, oh yeah, here you go. Here's the aero balance stuff. So anyway, big ups to Penske. You can't argue with it. They have it figured out. Yeah, it's kind of hard to hate greatness. But Logano gets the pole, Larson gets second, Cindric third, Suarez fourth. Suarez had good speed in practice also. He's looking actually pretty fast in the 7 car, so that's good to see out of him. New face at a new place, or old face at a new place, rather how you look at it. Blaney fifth, Chastain sixth. Blaney's talk of the town was his long run speed. They were talking about it in practice. Anything over 10 laps, and he was on another planet. So it's good to see that tire wear matters, and it's not just who can hot lap for an entire fuel run. So I'm glad that Goodyear and this increase of horsepower is actually showing that. So Chastain sixth, host of our seventh, Tyler Reddick qualified eighth, William Byron ninth, Josh Berry rounds it out in top 10, Denny Hamlin 11th. So yeah, a couple of new guys kind of sprinkled in there they don't typically see. You typically wouldn't see an Austin Cindric qualify third or a Suarez fourth. Ross Chastain in sixth. That's a good look for him. He's good. Happy to see him out there. But um, yeah, moving into the stages, man. So that was the whole thing. Was our tires gonna last? The magic number seemed to be around 20 laps before gremlins started popping up in the tires. So um, couple things I had noted early on was Tyler Reddick started to move through the field. I was watching him from his 8th place position and believe he got all the way up to fourth in stage one. That's where he finished. So he was moving early, and lap traffic was not giving it to anybody. Blaney was coming up upon the likes of the Zane Smiths and the Cole Custers, and they were not giving him an inch. That was pretty cool to see. I was glad to see they're not just coughing up spots and actually racing hard. So stage one, not a better Phoenix than I had seen in the last handful of Phoenixes. I mean, like I said, the horsepower and the tire thing, people had to kind of figure some stuff out. Different lanes worked all day long from stage one to the end. So that made for some good racing, and drivers were able to puncture the bubble of air. I think that was what we saw early on too, was Ryan Blaney was able to kind of drive through the field and get through that invisible bubble. So like a car in front, you get within 4 or 5 car lengths, all of a sudden this trailing car will not perform. And that was the tale for every single person in the field. So it became a string of cars. Today, whether it was maybe there's some new aero thing, but horsepower, tires, you name it, cars are able to go through that dirty air bubble and get up and rough people up, get side by side, able to give the bumper to people. So thank goodness, because Phoenix can be an awesome racetrack, but this new car the last handful of years has really neutered the racing and made it really boring. So I was excited. I really enjoyed how stage one went. So yeah, Blaney wins stage one, Bell third, Logano or Bell second, Logano third, Reddick fourth, Hamlin fifth. He drove his way up through there from 11th. Then Cindric sixth, Suarez seventh, Gibbs. Big day for Ty Gibbs. The Ty Gibbs haters are kind of eating their words a little bit. He was up towards the front pretty much the whole race. So shout out to him. I'm a Ty Gibbs sympathizer. I know Derrick will disagree. I kind of feel for the guy. Like, you're kind of put in a spot where everyone kind of hates you. Everyone's a little jealous of you. Maybe you're just a millennial kid that wants to go hang out with his friends. And, these old head Chris Gabe. I'm kidding. I'm obviously on the side of being a professional, but glad to see that he was able to get it done a little bit today and kind of silence a little bit of the haters. But William Byron ninth and Chastain rounds out the top 10 in stage one. Not a whole lot really to talk about in stage one. There was people were just scared of tires blowing out. Um, I don't think we had any tire failures in stage one. I believe stage two is kind of where things got a little aggressive. And that was the talk of the six radio was at what point do you get aggressive with tire pressure? I guess that was the talk of the town is run what you know can get you through, and then from there, how much lower can we get it with each pit stop? And there's an invisible number that they don't know what it is, but there's a certain point where that thing's going to blow, and that was kind of the talk of the whole day. So I think stage two is where some of these teams took a big gamble and maybe dropped it 3/10 of a pound, 4/10 of a pound, and I think Brad's team they said they had a pound and a half to work with compared to spring. So if spring was their baseline of that's what we're going to run, they were giving themselves a cushion and slowly lowering it throughout the day. Like I said, there's no adjustment like lowering tire pressure. It's just you have more grip. Um, so key events in stage two, Kyle Busch, 35 laps into the stage, hits the wall, what seemed to be pretty hard. Then come to find out late in the race, he's like fifth or something. So he rebounded pretty good. We'll see where he ended up, but yeah, Kyle Busch had a number of tire issues this week, and RCR was doing something no bueno with these tires. I think Austin Dillon, it finally caught up to him. Austin Hill had one go down in the 33, and then Kyle Busch had a number go down. So in the same lap, Shane Van Gisbergen had a tire failure which caused a wreck. So it was like the same lap on different ends of the racetrack. Kyle Busch had an incident. His wreck would not have brought out a caution, but Shane Van Gisbergen's on the same lap. His tire blew, and he brought out a caution. And Brad K receives a lucky dog from that. So that was good to get him back in the lead lap as a sixth guy. 45 laps into stage two, Chase Elliott and Daniel Suarez wreck. And here's what's annoying. I saw it because I follow a specific website who I'm not going to name because I don't want it to get taken down, but they have an international version of the stream. So during the TV broadcast, when it's on and Mike Joy's talking, you get the full Mike Joy Fox experience. But when it goes to commercial, you get the same camera stuff without any audio. You just get ambient track noise, but it's the same cameras. They'll follow certain things. And they were showing this Chase Elliott and Daniel Suarez wreck, and you would think that, Fox would have shown it, because it is the more sports most popular driver, and Daniel Suarez, who they're trying to promote and get him some more FaceTime. And I was really annoyed by that because we never got a clear angle of it either. They just kind of showed smoke and Chase Elliott's in it, and then like the next thing you know, Chase Elliott's fender's all broken up, and it's like, well, he's sports most popular guy. If you don't care about him, why should I? And I think that was a big miss on Fox. And I think Prime would have highlighted that and made a big deal out of it and made me care. Make me care. So anyway, I'll get off that. But yeah, Chase Elliott and Daniel Suarez wrecked 45 laps into stage two. 20 laps after that, lap 66, Christopher Bell passes Logano for the lead. Fox also missed that on TV, so big ups to Fox. Hated their broadcast today. Later in stage two, Chase Briscoe had a vibration for 10 laps and completely blew apart the wall. I'm not sure if you saw that, partner, but Chase Briscoe, he cranked the wall. I kind of felt bad for him. Thank God for the safer barrier. But he was complaining about a vibration, whether it was a tire issue or something of the like, some loose wheel or something. But yeah, dude, he absolutely blew the freaking wall apart. So he was done for the day. And that was right about that window of 15 to 20 laps where tires start to give out. So um, something to keep an eye on next time we go to short tracks is there kind of like the Bristol thing, if they can go 20 laps and then they're actually falling off the race car and like shredding like big league chew, like But yeah, so there was a pit road moment where later in stage two, where Blaney, who was inevitably the race leader, kind of got his day saved because he had a left rear tire not get fully screwed on. And pulling down pit road, they pulled into the number one pit stall, which was Logano. So they radioed over to the 22 crew, hey, screw on our left rear for us. Boom, they do. They lose a handful of spots, but could have been worse. Could have been come back around or have it fall off, and there goes Blaney's day. So I'm sure they're going to owe the 22 crew, a couple glasses of champagne. But later in stage two, this is where things got really funky, partner. And I'm sorry I'm talking a lot, but um, stage two was absolutely crazy. Noah Gragson blows the wall apart. Same kind of thing as what happened with Briscoe. So same kind of hit. Under that caution, he releases a ton of debris. Like he's spewing little tiny micro pieces of metal all over the place. Under that caution, 4 cars have tires go down and have to come down pit road, like literal blowouts under yellow. Connor Zilic blew one out. It was a crazy like whack-a-mole. The camera's panning over here with a blowout. Oh my god, there's somebody over here blowing out. It was like, what is going on? It was like there was somebody in the crowd shooting these tires out with a 22. It was ridiculous. So Zilic had to come down with a blown tire. Byron came down with a blown tire. McDowell came down, and I think SVG also had another blowout from the debris of this Gragson wreck. But I have never seen anything like that. There's debris all the time in wrecks, but you never see pop, 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 smoke, tire wadded up, fender getting. I'm like, damn, that's a big deal. So here's a key moment here as well as a sixth guy. And here's where my day turned upside down, like the Fresh Prince. Ryan Preece and Brad Keselowski stay out for some dumbass reason. They're P1 and 2 here with 20 laps to go in stage 2. They're trying to stay out, maybe squeeze stage points out of this. Hey, guess what? They didn't get the memo. Tires matter again. This isn't 2023 next gen where tires don't matter. They went from, dude, it was so frustrating to watch this, and I recommend anybody who has HBO to go back and watch Preece and Brad's HBO in car. They went from first and second to 32nd and 33rd in 2 to 3 laps. I mean, they got split off the restart and they were drowning P20 in a corner. And I'm watching this race completely slip away, and I'm like, what on earth is going on here? So terrible pit call from the 60 and the 6. I mean, those guys need to get completely whacked with a broom. Ridiculous. Anyway, bring it to the ends of stage 2. So that last 20 some odd lap run leads us to Christopher Bell winning stage 2, Hamlin P2. So good 1-2 for Joe Gibbs Racing. Joey Logano P3, and hey, the non-retarded RFK brother Chris Buescher in 4th. It's ridiculous. Then Bubba Wallace in 5th, Austin Cindric 6th. He stayed up front most of the day until he got absolutely cream corned in stage 3. Host of our 7th, Reddick 8th. So despite not a win, a good stage day for Tyler Reddick. Larson 9th, and Todd Gilliland squeezing out a top 10 in stage 2. So leads us to stage 3. Just going to go through this chronologically here, just motor through this because we're trying to get to the NIS here in a couple minutes. So 101 laps to go. Connor Zilic gets loose on the dog leg. Haven't seen anybody get loose up there all day. Just had a weird moment. He's on top of Ryan Preece going through the dog leg. They don't cut it. And Zilic just gets loose, gets sucked around, takes Preece with him. Caution, Fox, of course, misses the incident. So I've been noting these when the international version picks up a wreck. And then a minute and a half later, Mike Joy comes on the TV and he's like, "Oh, and a big wreck you see on your screen, Ryan Preece involved." And it's like, you guys blow. That same caution, Ty Dillon drags a fuel can around the track. Haven't seen that in a number of years, so that was cool. Haven't seen that fuel can get drug around. Here comes a couple big wrecks. Motor through these. Logano pushes Chastain. Logano, total mistake. Misjudges it. Gives Chastain just the littlest kiss in a really bad bottoming out spot on the racetrack. Hits Chastain. Chastain washes up the racetrack just completely wipes out, I believe, 4 or 5 cars out of the race. Austin Cindric got creamed, as did Anthony Alfredo. Anthony Alfredo got smoked 3 wide and ollied into the air and landed, and comes to a rest in the outside retaining wall. So bad day for both Austin Cindric and Anthony Alfredo, despite Cindric having a great day until then. So that was kind of frustrating, and Logano owned up to it, and he later got his comeuppance. Somebody later got him too. But mid-stage, SVG got loose into Austin Dillon, and Kyle Busch had another tire go down. And later in the same lap that Kyle Busch is showing him blow tire apart. Caution somewhere else on the track. Another one is Logano cuts the dog leg, cuts back up across the 16 of AJ Allmendinger, causes a multi-car wreck, and Logano's out. So that's where he cleared himself and just didn't have any room. So Logano was kind of a hammer today, kind of a NIS special. So collected in that day's ended of Josh Berry, Suarez, Chase Elliott, and Joey Logano himself. But yeah, so we're getting into his 20 laps to go or so. Austin Dillon had a tire failure. It finally caught up to him. He was involved in a wreck. Big wreck collecting Zane Smith, Ty Dillon, John Hunter Nemechek, which tied Phoenix's record all time, 12 wrecks. And most of them were tire related or tire failure related. So 20 laps to go. Ryan Blaney and Christopher Bell were battling it out. See, what were your observations there in the last little bits of racing there, partner? I know I had a long-winded bit there. So
Yeah, I'll take it over here because we got about 20 minutes, so we got to talk about the league stuff and everything, and we got the NIS coming up. Yeah, so Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, class of the field. They literally were pulling away from everybody, and it was, you didn't really know who was going to win. People were like, oh, Ty Gibbs is going to win. Oh, no, Blaney's going to win. Oh, Tyler Reddick's going to win. Kyle Larson's going to win. Oh, here comes Denny Hamlin. And I didn't really get to watch the Fox broadcast, and it sounded miserable and horrible to talk to, or to even listen to and watch. But Tyler Reddick started having problems about 3-4 laps to go in the race, within the race. His throttle wasn't pumping as much as he would like. I feel like we've seen it before with rubber getting in the cars and kind of just getting stuck in the throttle or stuck in the clutch, stuck in the brakes, something along those lines. So I'll be very keen to see what happens. We had a couple late cautions and late restarts, got wild, but Ryan Blaney was the one who ended up sneaking it out and breaking that streak. We're going to get into the grades real quick. Racing, I'm going to give it a B+. I think a lot of teams were taking advantage of these softer tires and putting not much air in these tires. As we said, we've seen wrinkles, we've seen these tires super soft and low. So B+. Officiating, A+. I mean, it seemed like every caution, it was just like instant. They were taking, it was very consistent. They were doing whatever they had to do to make sure everybody was safe, and the racing was great. Broadcasting should have been an F, but I'll give it a D. In my opinion, it just Fox is just, they need to change whoever is the producer of Fox Racing, because it is horrendous to listen to. It's horrendous to watch, and people pay a lot of money to watch these races at home or on their phone, whatever. B+, or I'm gonna give the burnout B. The reason being, technically I would have given an F, but Ryan Blaney, he doesn't really do any burnouts, and when he does, it's very rare. He's one of those guys where he doesn't like to tear up his car, doesn't like to tear up the engine. I get it. Overall grade, B for the Cup Series. That is the 645 report card. We're gonna go into these ads real quick, talk about the amazing partners that we have who pay the bills at the 645 show, and then we'll get into the league race, and then we gotta go. The NIS race, it starts in 18 minutes, so we're gonna try our best to get everything situated. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and go first here, partner. As always, this episode of 645 is powered by Nontypical Designs. If you're on iRacing and your paint scheme looks like it came from the default folder, we need to talk. Colt Loomis, the guy behind Nontypical Designs, is a self-taught graphic designer, specializes in racing paint schemes that look legit. He recreates real-world NASCAR schemes and builds custom designs that look like they belong under the lights on a racetrack. He works full-time in another industry and still grinds on this because he genuinely loves racing and design. If you want a scheme that turns heads before you even take the green flag, Nontypical Designs is where you need to go. So go to nontypicaldesigns.com or follow Nontypical Designs on Twitter. And now he is on Instagram. Colton Loomis has finally listened to me and got on Instagram. So shout out to Colton Loomis. Shout out to Nontypical Designs. And I will see you in a couple weeks at the Kansas Speedway, Colton.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to our other partner. That brings us to our other partner, who was actually a big part of this week. Shout out to Lewis Halton in New California. Today's episode of the 645 show is brought to you by New California Coffee Essentials. They're not just another coffee supply. Shut the fuck up. They are built on passion and purpose. After seeing way too many cafes stuck with overpriced, low-quality milk alternatives, they decided to raise the standard. New California Coffee Essentials connects coffee shops with clean, plant-based products that actually work beautifully in a cup with no gimmicks and no compromises. They believe in quality first, partnership over transactions, and supporting local coffee communities every step of the way. If you care about better ingredients, better coffee, and building something that matters, that's newcaliforniacoffeeco.com.
All right, let's address it. It's called Deutsch, and it's not what you think it is. It started as a joke in high school cafeteria and somehow turned into a clean, ridiculously good cookie dough that it actually fuels you instead of slowing you down. Packed with plant protein, low sugar, real ingredients, this stuff hits the sweet spot without the sugar crash and makes you regret your life's decisions. No junk, no weird stuff, just damn good, tasty snacking dough. Plus, they support awesome causes like Best Buddies, help cure HD with every purchase. So if you are going to obsess over a snack, make it Deutsch. Go to DeutschSnackingFoodCo.com. Use discount code 645SHOW. Get you 20% off.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And this is the portion of the stream, the show, where we talk about iRacing. I did do the NIS last week. We'll kind of skim over that real quick with Aaron. Aaron, you qualified like what in the 20s, and you ended up finishing 4th.
Yeah,
at Circuit of America. Wow.
Yeah, no idea how I did it. Didn't put a lap down. Got some off tracks, and qualified 26th. Well, it drove all the way to 4th. Keep in mind, no cautions no full course yellows in the NIS at road courses. So pure speed got us to P4. Super happy with that. It's actually kept us inspired to do the race tonight at Phoenix, which we'll see both of us on both of our channels at Derrick, Jewett 2 and Aaron Baum Racing here in about 15 minutes. But yeah, it's really eventful and successful NIS for me.
Yeah, and it went downhill with the likes of Martinsville for the Mystic Racing League. We had the trucks, the Casual Glass Series, which is the O'Reilly Series for us, and then the Slim Chicken Cup Series, which is just the Cup Series for us as well. Aaron doesn't do the Truck Series. Me and Adam Holston are the Truck Series guys on the team. We ended up doing really good. I believe Adam finished 3rd. I finished 8th. I went one lap down due to exiting closed pit and ended up instead of getting an EOL, I ended up getting a drive-through penalty. So that really put us in a very big bind. But Adam was really kind of teaching me without even knowing that he's teaching me to kind of stay calm and stay cool and stay collective. Usually I would crash out and get mad, get frustrated, and just end my day, ruin my day that way. And I ended up, sticking in with it, getting my lap back, and ended up finishing 8th, finished in the top 10. We'll go to the Caswell Glass Series where both me and Aaron were in it. Again, I think Aaron qualified pretty decent. I qualified in the mid-pack, and you kind of struggled, no offense. You kind of struggled, but I don't know what happened. I just found my way up towards the front. I think I finished in the top 10 in both stages. It was very... I was excited. I was excited that we were finishing where we needed to finish. Yeah, I finished 8th in stage 1, 4th in stage 2. And then, late in the race, about less than 30 laps ago, I was chasing down the leader, Christian Barnes, and everybody was spread out and seemed like we had a top 3 finish. Like my luck is turning around. I was excited. I was like, oh my god, just don't overdrive the corners. If you can't catch them, cool, finish second. Like you're so far ahead. And then we had a caution come out, and it involved Aaron and a couple other cars, and I was like, okay, like we're good. We're gonna have a good pit stop. Adam Holston, who is our teammate in the trucks in the Cup Series, hits me 5 or 6 times in pit road, forces me to speed in pit road, and puts me all the way back to like 26th. And not only that, I had everybody else that were lap down cars in front of me, and ended up getting loose, and I just overcorrected and killed the car, and that ended my race. What about you?
Yeah. Didn't really have a handle on the car that great. I mean, just didn't have a ton of speed. Thought I was gonna. Ended up getting some damage and having to use a fast repair. People just don't want to slow up. People just didn't want to slow up for us. We got rammed from behind a couple times, and people were doing some self spins in front of us. But it was good to see Derrick up there mixing it up. I was happy that at least one of us was doing well until it didn't. So, but for some reason, the Cup Series is being kind to me. I'm not sure if it's because I've planted my crops in NIS and I'm now reaping good rewards from it. But I've been really enjoying the Slim Chicken Series, because Lord knows the Caswell Glass Series has not treated me nice. So I'm not being nice to it anymore.
Yeah, we finished 21st and 22nd in the Caswell Glass Series. We went to the Cup Series. Excuse me. We had Beckett Brown in the 48, Andrew Show making his return in the 45, and then we had you in the 2. Me and Adam were kind of the life coaches and making sure everybody stayed calm, because I think what our problem was, if one person's having a bad race, everybody's going to have a bad race. So rather, if one person or all of us are having a bad race, we all are going to stay positive, because that's what happened in the Truck Series. I was having a bad race. I stayed positive. Both me and Adam finished in the top 10, with Adam finishing 3rd and me finishing 8th. We, as a team, that's moving forward. That's the plan. That no matter what, we're going to stay positive. And if you're not going to be positive, then mute your mic. Whatever the case may be. Stop being frustrated. So, we were there. I felt like me and Adam were doing a great job. Anytime that somebody got far out, I was paying attention to Beckett. I was paying attention to Aaron. Adam was paying attention to Show. But anytime that, Aaron and Shob were together, Adam would take over and talk to both of them, and I would talk to Beckett. Anytime Beckett and Aaron were together and close enough in visual range, I would control and take care of that. And I felt like a working train, a working thing. And you were doing great. Beckett Brown had a broken toe length and finished fourth. You finished seventh. Shob, who hasn't raced in forever, finishes 13th. So it was a great day for Dan Motorsports of the Cup Series. I was very proud of how everybody handled it. Anytime somebody started getting frustrated, me and Adam were there to kind of just stop that right there in its tracks, and that's the thing we're going to do moving forward. Excuse me. Yeah, I'll let you talk a little bit. We got about 7 minutes, and then we'll announce our big announcement, and then we'll skedaddle.
Yeah. Just to echo what you said, I think our Cup Series program is pretty solid. Having you in the war room when you're not driving, I think that's awesome. It's always helpful to have extra eyes in the sky, especially at a place like Martinsville where things happen and they're happening behind your head. When there's an accident and you're entering turn 3, but there's a wreck on the front stretch, you have no idea. So it was really, beneficial to have teammates calling out wrecks, and obviously to have Derrick and Adam up there helping out. But yeah, all I personally wanted was a top 10. That's been my mentality every race that I've been in the Cup Series, is just give me a top 10, and that's kept me towards the front in the standings. So that's going to be my mentality all year. These guys are hard to beat. The competition is really stiff. Guys like Beckett Brown, I'm glad they're on our team. He's done a great job helping share some data and share some of his findings in practice and stuff. So shout out to Beckett Brown. Kid's wicked fast. Glad he's on our side. And yeah, I'll take a P7 any day of the week at a Martinsville race. And I am very excited to hear what the big announcement is. I know, but I'm excited to hear Derrick.
So going into Friday's race, we had a little stickler and a bit of a situation. So Dan Motorsports in the Cup Series, we only have 3 vehicles. We have the 48, the 45, and the 2. Obviously, the 48 is a full-time charter vehicle specifically for Adam Holston and Beckett Brown. 45 is mine, but I put whoever I want in that car. The rule states that we have to have at least a driver race at least one lap in any race every 3 weeks. If not, we lose our charter, and then we have to pay another $25 to get in to re-establish into the series, and we aren't going to get our charter back. So Beckett was going to drive the 48. Andrew Shob was going to drive the 45. Adam Holston, who is really good at Martinsville, he's really good at any short tracks, wanted to race. He was going to go and substitute for another driver. Well, he can't because he is technically the owner of the 48. So we were trying to figure out what to do. And Adam eventually just got to the point where he said that I do not want to jump through any more hoops, and I'm just going to not race. I felt bad for Adam. Adam said that he's fine with it. During the Cup race, I ended up asking the league owner, Brandon Willard, hey, what is the status on, adding a 4th car? And boy, oh boy, did I have to jump through hoops, because I read the rule book from top to bottom, left to right, right to left, bottom to top, diagonal. I read it backwards. I read it forward. I went and looked at everything. And I sent the money to Brandon to have an open car, and it started to tread into I would have to have a driver once every 3 weeks, and that's something that I could not promise. I could promise somebody in the 45. I could promise somebody in the 48. I don't know if I could promise a third person in that car. So it started to tread that way, but we finally finalized everything. We have a 4th car. It is going to be a non-typical designs car. We got render of it. It's not even like a quarter of the way finished. and it looks amazing. Like, Colton Loomis is doing an amazing job. He's excited because he's a Ryan Blaney fan, and we got the 12. We made, I think we had 15 people vote on the poll, and only the car number 12 won the poll. Like, everybody agreed it was the 12. So that is an open car. It will strictly just be an open car. So if it comes down to it where Adam or myself have a driver in the 45 or the 48, and we ended up wanting to race last minute, boom, the car is open. If we already have something and me and Adam don't want to race, but like somebody like Dylan Brumley, who is a development driver, who is a truck series driver, wants to race, boom, there's somebody. If Andrew Shobe wants to come back and we already have both our cars filled up, boom, there's a third car. So it's not just specifically for the team. It's anybody that races in the lower series like ARCA or the truck series or the casual glass series that wants an opportunity and show people that they have the talent, they have the skill. Come take it, Go show not only us, but everybody on track, everybody that watches the broadcast and the streams and everything. Go show what you got. So I'm very excited as we're going to wrap it up. We got less than a minute to go. We appreciate everybody watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, follow, subscribe, do everything you got to do. And if you are a podcast listener, thank you for listening. As always, I always listen to this. I don't watch it because I'm already watching here. So, but thank you. Go watch Aaron Baum Racing on Twitch for the NIS. We'll be over there here in like a couple seconds. So, goodbye!